All right, let's jump into this. How to become the obvious choice in your niche, meaning how do you quickly become the go-to person in your chosen industry, even if you're starting from scratch? If you want to become that sought after leader in your niche where you're getting hired and paid to speak on a regular basis, and people are actually buying your books and taking your courses and coming to your workshops and conferences, then my friend, you've got to get clear about these three specific things. These three things are mission critical. Number one, you've got to get clear about who it is you are called to serve. The best way to please no one is to try to please everyone. And so, what you have to do is get very clear about who are the people that are most likely to buy what it is that I'm going to be offering. You got to get clear on who it is you're called to serve. Number two, you've got to get clear about the problem of theirs you're going to solve. The more specific and urgent and painful the problem is, you've got to find the pain. The more you're able to find the pain points in your niche, the better off you are. But you've got to decide what one or two problems you're going to be celebrated for solving. And then number three, you've got to get what I call your you advantage. The marketplace is saturated. And yes, your niche may be very competitive, but it doesn't matter. Over the last 10 years, I've made it my mission to study how the top knowledge experts and thought leaders in across industry platforms, how they grow their personal brands and platforms. Part of this came out of my own frustration and pain back in 2004, where people really didn't tell you specifically what you needed to focus on if you wanted to launch a speaking or coaching or consulting career, which is what I wanted to do. And over these over 10 years now, I've come up with, hey, here are these three things. If you don't have anything else, knock these three balls out of the park, and my friend, you'll put yourself in a very advantageous position. So let's break each of these down very quickly. Number one, you've got to decide who you're going to serve. What I mean by this is, what does your best client actually look like? Here, I want to give you some practical advice that runs counter to what all the other experts are saying out there. Everyone is telling you to create a customer avatar. And if you don't know what a customer avatar is or client avatar, it's making a list of the ideal characteristics that your ideal client would have. And while I think this is a great exercise, let me give you more practical advice that will allow you to kind of cut through the chase and start targeting a real audience. What I want you to do is you want to define your target audience by not their avatar, but their affinity group, the affinity group that a person is already a part of. Now, you might ask the question, what's an affinity group? Well, it's simply a real community of real people who have already emotionally and or financially invested in a clear process. Now, that's just big words and big speak for saying an affinity group just means a group of hungry fish, a community of people who are all tied together by a common affiliation. And that affiliation is an ideology, an activity, or a process. Okay? Now, let me give you some examples of affinity groups so that you can really understand what I want you to do here and how you can then quickly identify who you're going to serve. An affinity group could be first-time marathoners. Let's say that you ran in high school and in college, and you're a long-distance runner, and you want to now build your personal brand and platform around coaching and teaching other people how to run a successful marathon. Well, you would go after first time marathoners or long distance runners with flat feet. You see that? That could be an affinity group. Another example is Christian singles, or how about this? Brides to be. Last one, recent college graduates. Really take a thoughtful approach to where your ideal audience already hangs out and how they already self identify. You got that? You want to identify the affinity group that you want to serve. That's who you want to serve. And the reason why I'm encouraging you to do this right out of the gate is because these people have already invested emotionally or financially in a particular process. And once you identify their affinity group, then that brings you to number two. You'll be better able to identify the problem you're going to solve for them. The biggest mistake that I see intelligent people make over and over again when launching their own thought leader business is trying to be all things to all people, especially if you're a coach or a consultant or you're a speaker. Now, I get it. I get the mistake, okay, because you think if you offer a laundry list of services that you're actually casting a wider net of people. So it stands to reason you'll end up attracting more, right? Or you'll have a greater chance at attracting somebody. Well, in reality, the opposite is true. You see, a confused mind always says no. And the problem with this approach, meaning being too general, is when you offer too many things and you're being too general about what it is you do, people are confused and uncertain about why you should matter to them. You see, at the end of the day, people only care about their problems. They don't care about your credentials. They don't care about all the letters you have behind your name and how much experience you have. At the end of the day, they want pain relief. They want their problems solved. And when you can identify specific problems, I call them profitable problems, then you'll better be able to then create a personal brand and your messaging around being the solution to that problem. Does that make sense? You want to pigeonhole yourself to one or two problems that real people within an affinity group actually care about. Does that make sense? Become celebrated for solving a meaningful problem your affinity group really, really needs. This is the fastest and the most direct way that you're going to become relevant and then catapult yourself ahead of a lot of other people who are more established in your industry. Believe me, this works. Now, in the Authority Labs, which is the mastermind group that I run and facilitate that helps people launch a personal brand and platform around their knowledge and expertise, we go over 7 effective ways to identify what I call profitable problems. But let me give you one quick one right here that you can begin to use immediately. Study magazine covers that cater to your affinity group. If you want to be able to identify a problem that if you create a solution to, the chances are a lot greater of them buying from you. Study magazine covers. Why? Because magazines make their money by their cover, and they've already done the research. They've already vetted their market. And once you identify an affinity group, you just identify magazines and publications that they read, and then study the back issues of all the covers. When you do, you'll start to pick up trends and commonalities and common pains that are reoccurring. All right, this is a very fast and effective way of identifying a problem that you will then want to own. Okay, so number one, identify who you're going to serve. Identify the affinity group. Okay, number two, what problem of theirs are you going to become celebrated for solving? Now, the third piece to the puzzle is this: you want to get what I call your you advantage. Sally Hogshead, in her best-selling book, How the World Sees You, did a 10-year research study on what makes the top leaders most attractive. And the one thing that she found is different is better than better. My friend, this is good news. In the 21st century, it's not about credentials. It's about street credit. It's about how are you going to connect your big reason why you do what it is you do with the big reason why people will want to buy from you. I call this getting your you advantage. Look, the truth is, before anyone ever buys from you, they've got to first buy into you. And what this means is you must be able to connect, again, your big reason why you do what it is you do with the number one reason why people will buy from you. And at the end of the day, people buy from people that they know, like, and trust. And by knowing what your you advantage is and how to best leverage it in all of your marketing material and content creation and campaigns, you'll find more people choosing you over more established and more popular experts in your niche. Now, if this is something that you want and you need more help with, then you may want to consider checking out the Authority Labs and to see if it's a good fit for you. But these are the three things that you need to really dial in if you want to become the obvious choice in your niche. Meaning, you want to get the lion's share of attention and opportunity. Identify who you're going to serve, the problem you're going to solve, and then get your you advantage. Hey there, Byron here, the founder of the Authority Labs and the creator of the Paid to Be You framework. If you found that last tutorial helpful to you and you're ready to really launch a profitable personal brand and business around your knowledge, skills, and expertise, then you may be interested in finding out more about the Authority Labs. Just go on over to authoritylabs.club, and you can get all the information on what the Authority Labs can do for you. Currently, right now, at the making of this video, I'm right now in the Authority Labs studio. The doors are open. So go on over and check out authoritylabs.club and find out more information on what exactly you're going to be able to accomplish once you sign up. All right? Remember, my friends, in everything that you do, live generously, live courageously, and always choose to live your best life. You and I, we only get one shot at this life. We got to make it count. Agreed? All right, I'll see you on the next page.